Hey everybody. So January 20th, Inauguration Day, is coming up very, very quickly, and if there's one film that I could possibly ask for you to watch to prepare for that, it would be A Face in the Crowd. This is a film that came out in 1957, directed by Elia Kazan, and it is a very brilliant satirical cautionary tale. Kazan may not have had a very visually distinct style like a lot of auteur directors in his time, anyone from Douglas Sirk or Hitchcock, etc. But to me, he was an actor's director, and he was an actor starting out, and that is very clear because he knows how to work with them. He proved his talent for working with actors and making great films for so many years, especially, collaborations with Marlon Brando and A Streetcar Named Desire, and On the Waterfront, James Dean, and Rebel Without a Cause, East of Eden. And I put it up there with some of the great films he ever made, and one of the great Hollywood films, certainly of its time. And it is a film that makes a commentary on entertainment. That was when television was really rising and becoming very, very popular. And it was kind of a device that was used for entertainment, obviously, maybe on a basic level, but also communication, a way for you to get your information. And eventually entertainment sort of bleeds into those other two categories to the point where it's hard to differentiate between what is supposed to be real and what is not real. And when you watch the film now, 60 years after its release, you realize how eerily similar the story in that film is to our real life right now. And the film is about a guy who goes by the name Lonesome Rhodes, and this is played by Andy Griffith in his first film, I might add, which is quite an introduction for sure. But he's a guy who's a country singer. He has a big, charismatic personality. He is discovered by a radio producer in jail, and her name is Marcia Jeffries. She gives him a job on air, and the public just flocks to him like a moth to a flame. He's brash, he's bombastic, he's very physical. He has almost a guttural kind of quality to the way that he talks and the way that he moves. Everything just feels very much like he's pushing. And because he's kind of working his way up from rock bottom, he can appeal to the everyman in a lot of ways. He knows kind of how to relate to the common folk, and he knows how to pull the strings. And he just becomes this massive, massive success, and he starts getting offers, and his profile just grows and grows and grows, and he basically becomes this huge, just kind of juggernaut kind of television persona, not only appealing to the people, but he uses that influence in all kinds of areas in kind of the budding advertising world that really helped when television came along with commercials and that sort of thing. This is one of the films, kind of along with Ace in the Hole, the Billy Wilder film that came out years before. But I feel like these films are very similar in that they kind of predict a lot of what's going to happen later in life. Like, I feel like this film kind of showed the beginnings of reality TV, because at a certain point, Rhodes does become almost a reality television personality where you can't tell the difference between the persona and the man. He even uses that persona to influence the politics and to influence who is going to be running for president of the United States. Does any of this sound familiar? Of course, there are a lot of films out there that try to make a commentary on media influence and how that's affecting society. But I feel like this film really clinches it. It states those ideas very, very clearly with very little fluff, and it's done very well in a very kind of a powerful way that you're not expecting. A lot of Kazan's strengths are on display here. He really brings the characters to life by working closely with the actors. It's very, very evident. And, it would have been so easy to make Lonesome Rhodes into this caricature because, in a sense, he is. That is what he's trying to be. But this film really digs beneath all of that, and it's just really good writing and really good direction. And I just love Andy Griffith in this film. It really did show his range as an actor, and I mean, not anyone could play this part, and he does it just really beautifully. He knows how to create that contrast between this kind of gleeful, very energetic, extroverted, life of the party sort of presence, and then you have that kind of harsh, ruthless sociopath that he turns out to be. And that arc, really, it is believable the entire time. The way that the script is written, it's very conscious of all the themes at play, so it never feels forced. It all feels like it's completely in control the entire time. There's a line at the very beginning of the film, and it's when the Rhodes character is introduced, when he's tuning his guitar, and I think it just sums up so much of who he is and where his motivations lie. He says that a guitar beats a woman anytime, and that he can basically use the guitar as like a means of control. That is his instrument to convey whatever he wants. It can be truth or more often manipulation, but whenever he doesn't like the sound of it, he can just twist the tuners and it just falls right back into place. It's all within his control. So that literal act of tuning, it's like he's twisting, but metaphorically, distorting the perceptions that people have of him to whatever he wants, because that's what he's really good at. And it's a great line. It sets the tone for what kind of movie this is going to be, what kind of character this is going to be for the rest of the film. It is a bit of foreshadowing, certainly, but it gives you everything. It tells you that he wants to control everything, that he has very little respect for authority. He pretty much, no, I shouldn't say little, he refuses authority pretty much, and it's either his way or the highway, and that's it. In the moment he does not receive adulation, whether it's from his audience, through friendships, romantic relationships, he goes through withdrawal. He can't handle it. And so he always keeps people around him that he can, as I said, he can control, he can manipulate, who will just applaud him and build his ego. It's that kind of dangerous, very destructive personality type that is very much based on narcissism and greed and relentlessness, and it kind of veers into being sociopathic. This man is so delusional about everything. It gets to a point where a lot of people around him can't tell the persona from the man, and he can't tell it either. And I don't think, even from the beginning, I don't think there ever was a difference between the persona and the man, because he definitely guards that. And because of that, it makes him very isolated. The truth is isolated. Anyone who could have possibly grounded him and helped him, he shuns away because he's afraid of that in a lot of ways. And so rather than marrying Marcia, who he asks to marry, instead he chickens out and he marries this young 17-year-old beautiful girl because she idolizes him, and that's what he wants. He wants an ego boost. I love Marcia in the film. I think she's my favorite character. I think she is obviously very, very crucial here. She represents that internal confliction of the average audience member. We need her for a couple of reasons. Obviously, to create the ethos and the pathos, certainly someone that we can relate to, but also she kind of counteracts that very, very polarizing personality of Rhodes. She has a lot of guilt in the film because she created him. He really is her Frankenstein monster. She built him into what he eventually became, but she's also very guilty, I think more importantly, because she can't help but be charmed by him. And she's charmed by him throughout the film. No matter what he does to her, no matter how he beats her down, lies to her, whatever, and no matter how pathetic she may feel inside, she keeps coming back for more. And we do the same thing in our entertainment, especially with reality TV. You've got the Kardashians. Earlier on, years ago, you had the Hiltons, and you have the Kanye Wests and the Trumps, so on and so forth. We start to see these people as the norm, people that we should trust and look up to. And that's a very dangerous thing. I love how this film really explores that. And I love the scenes, again, between Marcia and Rhodes. I think they're really wonderful because you get dimension from both of them. Obviously she, as I said, feels a lot of guilt and she has a lot of reluctance about how she's drawn to this persona, but he doesn't know how to accept any moral center or any love. And that for her is very heartbreaking. There are characteristics there that she can relate to on a personal level, and that is that vulnerability. And that's often what you're looking for in partners. That's where it becomes a little bit difficult, where the emotion, the true emotion and the artifice kind of start to get confused. And that's a very dark road to go down. And I think thematically and visually, you see a lot of these ideas kind of come to fruition. The idea of fantasy blurring with reality. There's something slightly off about everything. And there's this, I think my favorite one is this great montage where Rhodes is selling a drug called Vitagex, and it's basically like Viagra. And I love the kind of chaotic but very enigmatic feel of everything, because it's just like how television is, how advertising is in social media and all of that. It's just boom, boom, boom. It's overwhelming, but yet you're drawn to it. And it even has that sexual feel on a very literal level because it is Vitagex. It's something to help your sex drive. And sex sells. That's part of what advertising, selling yourself is. And I just love it. I think from every angle, I love how the sensationalism has that tinge of bitterness, and yet the characters so represent us and how they can't really let go of it until they realize how much blood is on their hands. There are a few kind of monologues here and there and moments that I felt were slightly heavy-handed, but I'm kind of nitpicking there. I think still this is a very perceptive film that obviously recognized that television was not only entertainment, it was a tool that could often lead to danger, and that obviously led to all kinds of things, from the rise to social media and politics, and again, look where we are now. And that is my review. Thank you all for listening. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, the link is below. You can also like my Facebook page, and the link below that. You can watch more videos here, and if you want to subscribe, you can as well. Catch you next time.